Hi, I'm Dr. Marc, and I'm a voice teacher and stage director. Whether you're a professional pop or rock star that's wanting to take your performance to a next level, or you're just interested in making your car singing or shower singing easier and more comfortable and fun, I can help you get there. I'll start doing that today by reacting to and teaching you singing and performing tips that we can learn from the top performers around the world. Let's learn from BTS performing Euphoria at the Speak Yourself Tour, Wembley Stadium, Day 2. Here we go. There are a few things here that catch my eye immediately. First of all, there's a really clear focal point here at the beginning. They walk in a single file line. We see blue lights, and then all of a sudden they split apart and we see pink. We know exactly where we're supposed to look. It sets up our focus so specifically, so efficiently, right there at the start. Love it. I also love how the lights are integrated into the same thing, and so it's all communicating the same message and feels really cohesive that way. It makes for a really awesome start to the song. Vocally, he's starting really soft and kind of on the breathy aspirate side. A lot of people call it head voice, and you can call it that. To me, it's just more aspirate. The placement's further back, and the chord closure isn't as firm. There isn't any pressurization underneath it. It's just a really easy, light sound. Is that a problem? Of course not. This song and his voice suit each other perfectly. It is such a great change of pace from their other songs. It suits his voice well, and it's just really beautiful. I mean, so beautiful. It's also really easy to listen to. It's pleasant. It makes us feel sympathetic towards this voice. And with the softer colors, their costumes that are not as flashy, it's all communicating the same thing. Costumes, sets, lights, their voice, the music, their movement. And consequently, we'll buy it. Thanks. We'll take some more of that. Excited to see the rest. Okay, also notice that on his costume there's some sparklies. Again, it's to draw the attention to him. Excellent. Their movement is also really fluid here, which matches the song. They're crisp, it's sharp, but it's not as explosive and aggressive as some of their other songs. Again, because their movement is matching the music. So cool. They're right on the money in being able to really put everything into one cohesive whole, which is, again, what makes us totally just get absorbed into the moment and absorbed into what they're doing. Even though there's crisp movement, he's moving a lot, we're not hearing that reflected in his singing. His singing is staying really smooth, really consistent. There aren't any jarring pushes and pulls. He's able to keep those crisp, sharp movements out of his voice. And I think that's just really cool. Try it sometime. So do this. Go and just try to make abrupt changes as you're singing and see what that does to your voice. See if you can maintain that. I think you're going to find that it's actually going to help your voice unlock some of that tension if you can work towards being able to keep that voice consistent no matter what movement you're doing. Other thing I want to point out here, you notice how much he's smiling. Well, it probably shows that he's having a good time. He's enjoying the performance. He's probably practiced that, but it's a really easy, relaxed smile. As we've talked about before, upper tooth smile, a lot of people when they start doing the upper tooth smile gets this really weird kind of feeling up there and they feel like their tongue and teeth start doing weird stuff. Don't. Just try to keep a nice, easy, comfortable smile up there and you're going to be doing the upper tooth smile just right. And that's what we're seeing here. Notice his posture there. Really well lined up. Excellent singing posture. And also really flexible, allowing him to move as he's dancing. Those lights are awesome. Wow. The lights alone are phenomenal. Not just because they're so cool and there's so much variety and visual interest in there, but how specific they are to what he's doing in his song and in the singing and the music. Whoever that designer is, gotta keep that one. Wow. Okay, what I want you to notice here, we talked a little bit about posture and how he's lined up here really well, how his neck and his head and his torso are all lined up to maximize both getting the best breath and also lining up this vocal mechanism to get the most efficient sound. We've talked about that in some of the past videos of how to do that and how to line that up. And we'll talk about that probably in a future video. But what I want to point out here is even though he's on this device that's lifting him in the air, right? This hook, he is still keeping his balance on one foot or the other. He's using that contrapposto foot position, which is allowing him to stay flexible and loose and comfortable. He's not straight legging it, which would also probably make it more dangerous for him on that contraption. He's staying nice and balanced, weight on one foot or the other, and consequently, even though he's being flown around on this thing, his voice is still staying really consistent. He's able to keep that breath flow consistent and have it managed, and visually, he still looks totally relaxed and in control. If all of a sudden he went rigid or his legs went super straight, we'd probably start getting concerned for him. On a subconscious level, we would think that he's scared or that something's wrong. But because he stays so relaxed, so do we. We feel like, oh, no big deal. It just looks really cool that he's up on this hook flying way up above this whole stadium. I mean, holy cow. How amazing. The important point there is it's easy to identify there that we'd feel concerned for him if we're up in the air, but the same subconscious response happens when someone's on stage. If all of a sudden both legs go super straight at once and they get locked and they stay that way, subconsciously we feel like something's wrong. We start feeling concerned for them. That's not the kind of empathetic response we're usually looking for. And we don't here. We still feel empathetic towards him as a person, as a character, as the person singing the song, but we're not worried about him up on that hook. It's just exciting and fun to see. Jealous of their stage and the fun technology and things that they're doing here. I want a hook that you can fly around, go up and down and all around the theater. Give me one of those. How cool is that? I love that they are not limiting themselves to one level. They're not just standing on the stage, they're on the ground, they're up, then they're taking the lift up into the air and around the entire stadium. It seems like they're willing to do whatever it takes to keep the audience engaged and to do stuff that is new, but not do it just because it's new, but do it because it adds to the performance. They're communicating, they're telling the story, and they're sharing the music and the entire experience. They're not just trying to do something new just to do something new. It's all about increasing the performance, not just novelty, which I think is really important. Every time we add something, whether you're like, oh, that's just super cool, make sure that if you are introducing it, you're introducing it in a way that adds to the story, adds to what you're communicating, adds to the visual focus and interest, and not just, wow, that's cool, out of nowhere. Even if it's really exciting and interesting, that can also pull the audience out of the mood, out of the music, out of what's going on, and can actually undermine the entire performance. You don't want anything on stage to take priority, to take precedence over the storytelling. And in this case, storytelling, yeah, it's storytelling. They're telling the story of this song. Is it a actual through story? That's a different story to tell. How about that? Okay, notice how it's still this kind of higher sound that's a little lighter, not super beefy, but it's still forward. The placement is back here on one level and it's a little taller. It's not just an the whole time. There's more of an in it, actually. And you'll hear that a lot of the times, especially as he goes up to that middle and top. He actually pulls it back a little towards an in the back. But he still keeps that upper two smile and keeps that placement also really forward. So it's back here and it's forward at the same time, keeping that pop sound that keeps it really crisp and clear and keeps the words intelligible. It also keeps it from getting too heavy. So it's not just breathy and airy and soft. It's still got some of that ping and that brightness in it, even though it's a little bit softer and a little more muted. Love it. So amazing. I don't know how he stays so relaxed up there. It's just amazing. I'm picturing myself going up on one of those things, trying to sing and stay that relaxed and that comfortable and that expressive. Yeah, nah. I mean, maybe if I practice it for a long time, but wow. Earlier I was talking about how his sound is a little more muted. It's not as bright, brash. It's got that softer quality to it. The reason why that's usable here, why he can use that sound and get away with it, is because of the instrumentation. The instrumentation isn't as jangly, isn't as noisy, isn't as bright and brash. Because if it was, this sound right here would get buried underneath it. Not because it's weak or not good or whatever, not at all. It's just his own sound and the overtone series that it can compete with or it can't. And they've been really intelligent in choosing the song, the instrumentation, and how it's written to really suit his voice well, which again shows intelligent decision making on the people who are making those decisions. They obviously really know his voice and how to make the most of it. And he's doing an excellent job. The entire group is doing an excellent job. Consequently, it's really fun to watch. It's really easy to listen to. You gotta love it. So how do you know when you're supposed to interact with your partners there on stage and when you're not? Well, this is a dance situation where they serve a slightly different function. They aren't part of the dialogue. They are an extension of him in this moment. Consequently, if they started looking at him and watching him and directly engaging him with the whole time, that would be a little strange. That would feel like the group was being self-indulgent in this moment and turning the audience away. But instead, they are completely owning the moment as if they are the dancing soloists while he is the vocal soloist and center of attention. And again, it makes it feel like they're one cohesive group, all adding to the performance in a unique way that none of the others could do by themselves. I'm always a little surprised watching this and really thrilled by how well they transition as an ensemble between soloists and then jumping straight in the ensemble, and ensemble with soloists as individual kind of sections, meaning the ensemble is kind of like their own person and the soloist is their own person. It's just all so fluid and all so well done. So really specific, where we as an audience don't have to work at all to know where we need to look. And if for some reason that we decide that we need a moment to look away from the soloist and kind of process what's going on and take in the rest of the event, there's tons of other great things to look at, but they aren't necessarily drawing our attention away from where we need to be. They're just extra content if we're ready to look at something else. Okay, final thing here I want to point out. You notice at the end, they all turn their back towards us. Why? Well, it's kind of like a fade out. It tells us song's over without them having to break character. It's a really kind of nice way to let the audience process what just happened and to feel the lingering effects of what just happened so that they're ready then to process the next part of the performance. If they just jump straight into the next thing and their faces are right there the whole time, it's harder for us to be ready to go on to the next thing unless it's a logical, emotional, and mental sequence. Why? Well, first and foremost, because it's really hard for us to process what we're thinking and feeling when we're looking at someone's face. Think about it. You're having a conversation. What do? Well, you look at their eyes to gather information, and then you look away from their eyes to think about what they just said, and then look back at their eyes to gather more information once you've processed it, right? If we just stay looking at the whole time, it's actually a sign of aggression, and it's not very nice. It's actually a sign of a predator. And so, in this case, what this allows us to do is they're allowing us to be able to process and look away from their face because they're turning their face away, so that we are then ready for when they move on to the next piece. So again, even all the way up to the very end, nothing's distracting. It just looks so comfortable, so easy to listen to watch. And then they also do us the courtesy to let us process at the end. There's a lot of different lessons in there to learn. There's even more. I wish I was there. I wish I could have gone to that concert. Hopefully someday in the future I can go to the concert myself and be there with my Fancam. I'd love to hear what you saw, what you loved, what you learned. Feel free to comment down below, and don't forget to click like and subscribe. If you want a voice lesson or performance coaching, or want me to work with you or your group to help you sing easier or perform at a consistently higher level, book a time with me at mrperformingartsstudio.com. I look forward to working with you online.